let's head courtside for the call of today's game.
And we welcome you back to Pinnacle Bank Arena in Lincoln, Nebraska for another Class B showdown in the state basketball tournament on Ole Red 99.5. It's time for the semifinals, and these two games today on Ole Red should be an absolute blast to be able to bring you all listening at home. We start off here with Skutt Catholic versus Crete, a game that had happened last year in the semifinals. That time, though, Skutt Catholic got the win over Crete. And Crete, Jake, by the way, I'm Kyle Mathas. I'm joined by Jake Bartecki. Crete is 2-10 against Skutt Catholic. Overall, their only two wins since 2006 came in 2014-15. They won that game 45-44. And then this year in the regular season, and they won that game 58-52.
You know, the difference last year in that game in the semifinals was really a 10-0 run. I mean, in the first 2 minutes of the ball game, Skutt went up 10-0, and Crete, for the other 30 minutes, was the better team on the floor. And I truly believe that. They outscored Skutt. They out-hustled Skutt. They got to loose balls. They were the better team in that game last year. This is an opportunity for Crete. I mean, I think it's also a chance for Tony Siski to make a statement. I mean, we talked about this yesterday, where this team has come from since he's taken over. And again, 2019, they're 13-11. 2021, they're 6-18. Then they go 11-14 in 2022. Breakthrough to make state these next two seasons, and they have a chance to go to the state final. Maybe even play their Southeast Nebraska rival in the Norris Titans.
Well, for Crete, it's been a while since they won a state championship. They last won a state championship as a Class B school in 1975. It's been that long. That was the last time, actually, that Crete has made the state championship game, was 1975 when they won it. Meanwhile, for Skutt, they're accustomed to making the state title game and playing in semifinals like this. They've won 5 titles, most recently last season, where they won in Class B, taking down Platteview in the final. So that was their most recent game. So, Jake, these two teams completely different in their histories. For Crete, it's been a while since they even made the state title game. They want to make it, though, this year undefeated. For Skutt, they've made the state title game twice since 2020, and in 2020, Jake, they went undefeated as state champions, just like Crete is trying to do this time.
Yeah, I mean, Skutt's a really good program. I mean, they always have been. They're able to get talent. They're able to develop talent, and they got good coaches as well. I mean, Kyle Juergen's a great head coach, and you look at their volleyball program. How many state titles have they won now? 10 in a row at least. Renee Saunders is a really good head coach. The girls team lost to Elkhorn North, who was literally unbeatable at state for 4 years in a row. So they're a really historically good athletic school, and they've got good playmakers. I mean, Cannon's a good player. You've also got guys like Brock Scholl, who's 6'8". I mean, he's one of the best juniors, I think, in the state, if not the best junior in boys basketball, especially in Class B. So they've got some guys that are going to be tough to move. Last year, Jake Brack was huge, and I think he was as much of a college product as anyone else that has ever come through Skutt. And he was huge in helping them win a title last year, too. So they're really talented athletically, and they always have been.
Yeah, absolutely. And yesterday, Crete beat Platteview 43-30, and Skutt beat Elkhorn 69-61. Both of these teams taking care of their opponents. Crete with a 13-point win, Skutt with an 8-point win, and now they meet today. Well, Jake, the thing is, last year, like I said, Skutt took down Crete in the state semifinals, 57-55, a 2-point win for Skutt. But Aiden McDowell led the team in scoring with 19 points. Here's the big thing. 10 points from Ben Ehlers in that game.
Yeah.
8 rebounds from Ehlers led the team. Ehlers led the team in assists with 3, steals with 3, and he had the only block on the team. So Ben Ehlers is most likely, we haven't confirmed it yet, so we don't want to say for sure, but he hurt his knee again. So, yeah, he's not even dressed, actually.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain he's out.
Yeah, he will not be playing today. So Ben Ehlers, a big factor in that game last year in the state semifinals, will not be playing today in the semifinals a year later, unfortunately, because he re-aggravated that knee injury yesterday in that Platteview game in the first quarter.
Yeah, that was unfortunate to watch. I mean, he kind of sliding himself to the sideline because I don't think the officials saw him go down. I mean, yeah, you read all his stats, but again, that's last year. I mean, Ben Ehlers has been good this year, but the difference is last year it was basically the Aiden McDowell and the Ben Ehlers show. This year you've got guys like Svitak and Aggie Justice Gardner's been huge. Jabin Gardner was huge, obviously, for this team last year. I think Crete's a much better team than they were last year, and even in saying that, they probably were the better team in that semifinal game. Like I said at the top of the broadcast, I mean, Skutt got off to a 10-0 run in the first 2 minutes of that ball game, and that ended up being the difference. So, again, it's going to be a fun game. I mean, I think this is probably the best matchup we'll see in Class B in this tournament, other than maybe the finals, which who knows what will happen there. In a perfect old red world, both Crete and Norris win, but I'm really excited for this one because I think there's a lot of storylines and a lot of talent on the floor here today.
Well, like Jake said, Trace Eggy is a big factor that he wasn't so much of a factor last year compared to what he is this year. He led the team in points yesterday with 13 points in the win over Platteview in the quarterfinals. More pregame coverage on Ole Red brought to you by Crete Public Schools is up next as Skutt Catholic will take on Crete in the Class B state semifinals. Up next on Ole Red. Welcome back to Ole Red 99.5's presentation of the NSAA State Basketball Tournament, brought to you by Crete Food Mart, Citibank and Trust, member FDIC, Stop and Shop in Crete, fast and fresh and fun, Crete Lumber and Farm Supply. And this is our pregame show brought to you by Crete Public Schools. Well, it has been quite the Crete turnaround ever since they were led by Tony Siski, who came from Elkhorn and turned this team around since the 2020-2021 season. This team went 13-11 in the season prior to Siski's arrival. In Siski's first season, they went 6-18 with some really young players like freshmen and sophomores that are seniors now, 11-14 in year two, 19-7 last year where he turned the team around, made the state tournament, ran to the semifinals but lost ultimately to Skutt. Now, things are different this year. They're trying to go all the way. They're trying to win the state tournament. They're 26-0, and they're trying to beat Skutt this year. They didn't do it last year. They lost 57-55 in the state semifinals. And Skutt Catholic, they are the defending champions of Class B, and they had a great game yesterday in their win over crosstown rivals Elkhorn in a 69-61 victory. I want to remind you that later on this afternoon, right after the conclusion of this game at around 3:15 tip-off, around 2:55 pregame show, we'll have a doubleheader here on Ole Red, as it'll be the number 3 Scottsbluff Bearcats getting a big win over Omaha Roncalli as they go up against the number 2 Norris Titans, who got an overtime win over Bennington, 61-56. I want to remind you that that game will happen right at the conclusion of this first game between Crete and Skutt Catholic. Winners of those two games to play tomorrow in the state championship game here at Pinnacle Bank Arena, set for 1 p.m. tip-off, probably around a 12:40 p.m. pregame show on Ole Red. I'm Kyle Mathas, joined by Jake Bartecki. Jake, I want to ask you, because like most people know, I just moved to the state of Nebraska.
Sure.
It wasn't here when Tony Siski took over Crete. Didn't see how they were before the era of Tony Siski. You saw maybe a little bit more than I did, a little bit as to Crete and what they did prior to their state runs. But talk to me about Tony Siski turnaround on this team. I mean, starting in 2020, 2021, and going 6-18 in his first year, 11-14 in year two, but then making state back-to-back years, he's really turned this program around to new heights.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see Crete. I haven't seen Crete without Tony Siski, so I don't know if he changed much in terms of the style or whatever. But yeah, I mean, he's been huge in the development of, I think, a couple of the players. And the one that comes to mind first is Aiden McDowell. I mean, he was, kind of just a mainstream point guard, wasn't necessarily going to score a ton, pass the ball around. He was a pass-first guard, and now he's turned into a prolific scorer who can shoot the three. I mean, contested shoot the three. And he can drive, he can kick it out, he can pass, he can rebound. I think Tony Siski has elevated and widened the game for a lot of players on this team, and I think Aiden McDowell, their best player, is probably the one I think of the most.
Yeah, well, Aiden McDowell, he struggled yesterday a little more than usual. I mean, averaging nearly 20 points per game. He ended up finishing on the game with 11 points, which is still good. That was 2 points behind Eggy, who led the scoring, but Aiden McDowell had a huge game last year and a big game in the regular season against Skutt Catholic. It was a 19-point game for Aiden McDowell last year in the state semifinals. And then this season, Aiden McDowell had 29 points against Skutt in that 6-point win in that mid-season tournament against Skutt Catholic Skyhawks. Well, we're just about 3 minutes away from the announcement of the starting lineups. We will announce those to you right now. And we'll start with Crete, who are being led by Aiden McDowell, that 6'5 senior, who is averaging nearly 20 points per game. He needs to be a big part of this team. Also, a senior 6'4", number 13, Kenner Sweetalk, who had a big game yesterday, getting 9 points on that win over Platteview. Also starting is a 6'6", junior, number 20, Justice Gardner, who finished with 6 points and has been a big kind of player to step up in the role of Ben Ehlers, who unfortunately will not be starting or playing in today's game due to re-aggravating that right leg injury yesterday in the game against Platteview. Also starting is number 23, Trace Eggy, who led the team in scoring with 13 points. He's a senior, standing at 6'4" for him and a couple other guys. This could be their last games if they don't end up winning this. They want to finish out their time at Crete as state champions. And finishing it off is a senior at 6 foot, number 15, Reese Verdon, who didn't start yesterday's game, but unfortunately once Ehlers went down, it was Verdon who came in and played a big role in that win over Platteview. Got some big minutes. Now we'll go into Skutt Catholic's lineup. We'll start with their 6'3", junior, number 3, Kyle Cannon, who had a great game yesterday against Elkhorn in that win. A 5'11", senior, number 10, Will O'Darty, and then a 6'1", junior, number 12, Dylan Van Dyke, who is averaging 9.3 points per game so far this season. Also starting is a 6'8", junior, number 44, Brock Scholl, averaging 20.2 points per game, 464 points on the season. And then finishing it off is a 6'8", sophomore, number 50, George Zeebel. We'll have the national anthem and be right back for tip-off between Crete and Skutt Catholic in the state semifinals. Up next on Ole Red. Welcome back to the NSAA State Basketball Tournament on Ole Red 99.5, which is brought to you by Fillmore County Hospital, trusted hearts touching lives, Plaza Ridge Dental and Beatrice for the smiles in your world, Johnson County Hospital, Heartland Bank, member FDIC, and Beatrice Auto Sales. I'm Kyle Mathas, joined by Jake Bartecki. We thank Ron Roskilly for being back in the studio, working the board, sending this a commercial break, helping us be able to give this all to you listening at home or wherever you are. Want to go over a little bit of what Crete did yesterday in their 43-30 win over Platteview. That game was close for the first 3 quarters of the game. It was all within single digits. Platteview kept it close. They were trying to pull off a shocking upset. Crete started slow. Platteview took advantage of that, yet Crete in the fourth quarter went on a big run, and with about 3 minutes left, Crete was up by 18 points at one point. They ended up only winning by 13 points, but I mean, in that fourth quarter, Crete took control, Jake. They showed how deep and how much depth they have, and they kind of dominated Platteview at the end of the game.
Yeah, and I don't think Crete played poorly. I think Platteview played well in that game. I mean, Platteview, you mentioned it was a single-digit lead. Yeah, at times it was a single-digit lead for Platteview in that game too. I mean, they came out with a good game plan, and they had a plan on Aiden McDowell, and it's interesting to me. Theo Bowling he's impressed me. I mean, he's going to get the start today for Ben Ehlers. 3 points per game for him on the season, but he's physical. I mean, he's going to be tough to move. Now, he's had knee injuries in the past as well, but he's tough to move out of the paint. He's able to score. He's able to hold the ball where a lot of Skutt's guys don't have it. And if Skutt gets into foul trouble and they have to go to the bench, that is a huge advantage for Crete just because of height.
Absolutely. Well, we want to mention that the Crete fans have come out to support very, very well. I mean, the entire section of fans that have traveled from Crete nearly about 35 minutes or so to support their team, completely nearly filling up the stands across the way from us. And the students have filled up their end of the stands as well pretty well. And Crete, they've come out to support. I think they understand how this could be the season that Crete goes all the way for the first time since the 70s.
Yeah, it would be really cool. I don't know if they've ever had an undefeated season. I doubt it. That's maybe something to look into if they do pull this off here today. I'm just noticing something. Tunnel across from us. Guess who's here watching that one? Surprise, surprise. They play right after, but I got a feeling Jimmy Moats is going to keep a close eye on this ball game if he can.
Well, we'll have Norris up next on Ole Red against Scottsbluff in the semifinals. Norris has got to beat them first. I get it. They have to scout, but Scottsbluff got a big win yesterday against Omaha Roncalli, and that was a big win that people expected, but it could have went the other way completely as well. Well, here we go. Skutt versus Crete in the semifinals. This is a game that these two teams could be meeting on a collision course. We didn't know if it was going to happen or not. It's happening now. Skyhawks are in their all-black uniforms with green, and Crete is in their home whites. We're underway. Skutt wins the opening tip. And here we go in the Class B state semifinals. The Skyhawks working around the arc with Dylan Van Dyke. And Dyke being guarded well. Brock Scholl is a beast. He has the ball now. Swings it to the right side for Kyle Cannon, who had a great three-point shooting game yesterday, but his first shot is no good off the mark. Aiden McDowell reaches in for the rebound. And here comes Crete the other way. McDowell gets a screen from Theo Bowling. Pulls up for three. Oh, and it rims in and out. Close call for McDowell.
Yeah, this could be a shooting fest. I mean, Crete shoots a lot of threes. We know that Aiden McDowell's lethal from anywhere. So is Skutt. I mean, Skutt's got a lot of, they don't have a ton of height down low, but they've got a lot of shooters on the perimeter.
O'Doherty swings it around the arc, gets it to the right for Van Dyke. Dylan Van Dyke has a good season, averaging nearly 10 points per game. Posts it up, comes back out to Cannon, swings it over to the right side for O'Doherty. And Will O'Doherty swings it over. 8 on the shot clock. Here's Brock Scholl. Pump fakes a three. He needs help. Gets it in the high post. Pump fake, a fadeaway jumper. Off the mark. No good by Van Dyke. Rebound goes to Justice Gardner.
That's a huge defensive possession there by Crete. I mean, they took them all the way down the shot clock.
Open three, left side, no good. Aiden McDowell flies in for the rebound. He got hit in the head. No call, though. And it goes to Kyle Cannon of Skutt on that missed three. They go down low, Skutt. And there's a near block. Gardner gets called for the foul. Brock Scholl to the line for 2 shots here. Justice Gardner, for a little bit of that game against Platteview, got into a little bit of foul trouble in the middle of that game.
I'm surprised they called that.
I know, that was like a clean block.
Wanted to see the replay, but it looked pretty clean. I mean, he chased him down, so he must have hit him maybe on the back end where we couldn't see it from the angle.
Scholl's first free throw, no good off the back of the rim. Well, if you're just joining us, Skutt versus Crete here on Old Red. Last year, Skutt beat Crete in the state semifinals, 57-55. Crete would be looking to have a different result this year. Second free throw, good by Scholl. It's 1-0 Omaha Skutt. And McDowell, who needs to have a big game with the absence of Ben Ehlers on the bench with an injury. And he kicks it around to Gardner. Justice Gardner gets a screen. Kicks to McDowell, back outside, drives it in. McDowell puts it up. No call, no foul. Rebound goes out of bounds off of the hand of Kenner Sweetalk. And McDowell,
if they're going to call something on Gardner for swatting a ball out of bounds, but McDowell can get hacked while he's fading away, that's just inconsistent.
Here is the work around the three-point line to Kyle Cannon. McDowell was getting hacked yesterday in the game against Platteview. Didn't get many fouls called for him. We hope that's not the same situation today. Here's Cannon. We're going to get a foul on McDowell. As McDowell, there was a screen being set by Brock Scholl. I don't exactly know how McDowell picked up that foul, but already 2 fouls on Crete that are questionable calls. And here's the kick out to Kyle Cannon. Top of the key, gets a screen, kicks it to the left side. Three-pointer, Scholl on the way. Yes! From the left corner, Brock Scholl hits a three, and Skutt is already off to a great start. They went on a 10-0 run to start the semifinals last season. They're up 4-0 here. McDowell gets hit again, but he makes the shot. A mid-range jumper from Aiden McDowell. He got hacked on that one. No call. Here's the feed down low on the post. George Siebel fakes the shot, puts it up with his right. We get no shot travel in the post by Siebel. Good defense down low by Crete.
Yeah, Crete's defense has been really good. I mean, they almost forced him into a shot clock violation at one point, and they forced a shot with 1 second on the shot clock. And right there, I mean, there was nowhere for Siebel to go, and he just took an extra step.
Aiden McDowell has the ball now. He scored the 2 points that makes it 4-2 Skutt. But Aiden McDowell has been getting hacked on every possession so far. Even on that make, he got hit. Should have been an and one. Here's Gardner now. Drives with his right. Baseline drive. Gardner kicks it to the free throw line. Here's a floater on the way. It's good for Sweetalk. Kenner Sweetalk gets it to go. Skutt the other way quickly. 3 minutes into the first. 4 apiece. Outside of the right side, it's O'Doherty. Kicks it in the right corner. Three-pointer on the way and good. Dylan Van Dyke. Well, if Crete wants to keep up with Skutt, they're going to have to score better than they did yesterday. It's 7-4 Skutt. McDowell to the basket. Puts up the layup. Got hit again. But he puts it in. He's got 4 points, and it's 7-6 Skutt.
Yeah, that was a good take by McDowell. I mean, that's the type of stuff he just didn't do his undergrad, underclassman years.
There's a steal on the other end. McDowell gets it and takes it one-on-one. McDowell to the rim. Yes, he puts it in. Yeah, the layup. Welcome to the show, Aiden McDowell.
Yeah, to finish that point, I mean, he just didn't do that. And people will remember he was very hesitant to drive and draw contact like he did there, and he went right after the rack.
8-7 Crete. Crete student section chanting D up, D up. They need a big defensive possession here. Van Dyke right side, kicks it to the top for Scholl. Scholl getting well defended. McDowell tried to reach in and steal it. They're going to get an open look from the right corner. No. Faking is Van Dyke. Kicks it to the top of the key. Three-pointer O'Doherty. Yes. It's good.
Yeah,
and Skutt is not missing these threes.
They're 3 of 4 from downtown,
Wow.
and that all started because Aiden McDowell sold out for the steal and got faked out.
McDowell behind the back, kicks it to the right corner for Sweet Talk. Sweet Talk goes in the high post, going for Eggy. Eggy underneath. Yes, Trace Eggy with a reverse layup with his right. Ties the game up at 10. Skutt the other way. The tempo of this game. Who is it favoring? It seems like it's favoring both teams evenly. Here's a three-pointer from the top of the key. That's good by Van Dyke. 4 for 5 from 3 for Skutt Catholic, and they lead 13-10.
4 of 5. I mean, that's got to be their best start from 3 this season.
Step back, Gardner, top of the key three. Oh, it was halfway down, rattled out. Rebound, pulled down by Skutt. Goes to Zeeble. Here comes Kyle Cannon, who's averaging nearly 10 points per game. He's got it, swings it around to Van Dyke. Van Dyke's having a great day shooting. Cannon shoots one from 3 from the left side, won't go. Rebound knocked out of bounds. It's off of Van Dyke of Skutt, and it'll go to Crete. Oh, so this pace of the game has been quite chaotic. 3 minutes and 9 seconds to go in the first. Skutt leads it over Crete 13-10. And Crete has the ball. See a couple substitutions for the Cardinals. Coming in for Crete, Reese Verdon. Also coming in, Lane Wendelin. Didn't play yesterday, but comes in a big factor because of Ehlers' injuries today. Here is Verdon. Kicks it to the left now for Sweet Talk. Sweet Talk finds the cutter. McDowell dunks it. Oh, he puts it in. McDowell with 2 hands dunks it in the state tournament. What a great play by Aiden McDowell. He's got 8.
Well, you're not going to block that.
No, not at all. Here's Gideon Linderman. Swings it out top now. Carter Wissink lost it. Steal by Verdon. Verdon giving it off. Back to Verdon underneath. Pump fakes. Gives it off Sweet Talk. Layup, yes. And Crete leads it. Off the steal, they get the transition bucket. They're up by 1, 14-13 over Skutt.
First lead of the game, and that was just pretty ball movement. That's unselfish. That's Tony Siskey basketball.
Here's Kyle Cannon, left side, gets a screen, kicks it to the right corner, open look for 3. Way off the mark by Gideon Linderman. Not a three-pointer that you see Skutt miss that badly.
5 turnovers now for Skutt, believe it or not.
McDowell kicks it to the left side now for Lane Wendelin. Goes down in the post, and we get a pushing foul in the post. Sweet Talk is fouled underneath by Carter Wissink. Now, Aiden McDowell's got a tall task ahead of him. How many points can he score to keep Crete in front? But also his teammates have a tall task too, Jake, because how many points can they score to give McDowell help? If they score points and McDowell is shooting the way he shot so far in this game, Crete could have a great performance in scoring the basketball.
Yeah, McDowell's got 8. I mean, he's on pace to put up a career high today, so I'd say keep doing what he's doing. Yeah, I mean, I actually think Crete's playing really well. Scott's hit 4 triples already today, too, so they're playing well.
Inside a layup off the inbound by Sweet Talk. He's fouled underneath by Skutt. The referees aren't letting them play. Very physical. I want to mention that Carter Resney checked into the game for Lane Wendelin. Resney had a big game yesterday in that win. 2 points, but had some great defensive steals. And
it's worth mentioning, too, that Skutt has 1 point at the free throw line. Other than that, they've knocked down 4 contested three-pointers.
That's a great point.
So, I mean, you talk about playing good defense. They've allowed a free throw, and they've allowed a couple of tough triples. Crete Skutt will slow down, too. Crete's playing well.
Sweet Talk makes the first free throw. Second one here. Got it. And Crete has their biggest lead of the game. They once led 8-7. Now they lead 16-13. 3-point lead over Skutt. See how Skutt responds here with Carter Wissink. Kicks it over to the left side for Brock Scholl. Back over to Kyle Cannon. Gets a screen. Cannon drives it to the rim. Tough layup. No good. Rebound inside. Rebounded by Gardner. Gardner getting pressured all the way in the backcourt by Wissink. He gets it ahead, though, to Carter Resney. And Resney can reset. Minute and a half to go in the first quarter. Crete up by 3. Gardner right side. Has McDowell on the post. Doesn't want to use him yet. Here's Verdon. Fakes the pass. Verdon hop steps inside. Ball is intercepted and stolen. Kyle Cannon on a fast break lays it up and in.
Yeah,
That's what Crete cannot afford to have, Jake.
Yeah, and that's Skutt's first bucket. I mean, it comes off a turnover. It's their first bucket that's not a triple or a free throw.
Yeah. McDowell goes inside, puts up the tough shot. Oh, McDowell on the run, puts up the mid-range jumper. He's looking like Michael Jordan right now out there, 18-15, he just cannot miss. Now over on the right side, Wisink drives baseline, gets pressured by Verdon. Back up to Kyle Cannon, pump fakes, kicks it back out to Wisink in the corner. Great defense by Verdon. They get it back out to Cannon. 16 on the shot clock. Here's O'Doherty. Kicks it to the right side for Cannon at the three-point line. Cannon now with 8 seconds on the shot clock is just holding the ball. Puts up a Steph Curry range three. Shot short, no good. Gardner on the board. 30 seconds to go in the first quarter. No shot clock for Crete. McDowell has the ball.
Kyle's working the NBA names in. McDowell, Michael Jordan. We got a Curry range three. Semifinals or what?
It's the semifinals, all right. This is playing out like a great semifinal contest so far. A 3-point Crete lead. 10 seconds to go in the quarter. Here's Justice Gardner, top of the key. Swings it to the left. McDowell fakes the shot. Kicks it to Gardner. Left side three at the buzzer. No. Shot rebounded. And the clock hits zeros. And the score is 18-15. Crete leading it over Skutt Catholic. And about as good of a start to a semifinal of the state tournament as you could hope for. This has been this is a presentation of NSAA State Basketball in Ole Red. We'll be back after this for the second quarter. Hey, stay tuned for the stop of the game. Brought to you by Stop and Shop at the end of the game. We'll be back after this. 18-15 Crete in the lead on Ole Red.